So, to access Power Platform, we need what's called a Microsoft tenant. Now, you may already have access to a Microsoft tenant, either you have one yourself or with the organization that you work for. If you do have that, then you don't need to follow these steps. So this is for people that do not have access for that to their own tenant, or maybe you do have access to a work tenant, but you don't feel comfortable using it for any of this work and this learning, and you'd like your own one. Now, previously, Microsoft did have a program to give out free tenants for developers. That program has now ended. You can only access that now if you have a Visual Studio Enterprise subscription. If you do happen to have one of those, then you can access the development sandbox and do it that way. But if you don't have that, this method I'm going to show you is now the cheapest way to access your own tenant. So if you follow the link to the Microsoft website, you're going to come to the business page here. If we scroll down, there are several plans for us to choose from. We've got basic, standard, and premium. Now it's up to you. You're going to get some more benefit out of some of these plans as well. If all you want to focus on is the cheapest way to access Power Platform, then you can choose the basic plan. So I'm in the New Zealand website here, so I'm seeing this in New Zealand dollars. It's just under $10 a month. I think it's about $6 US. We can see what we get for that. So we get our own tenant, we get access to Teams, OneDrive, and Microsoft Exchange for emails. The difference between basic and standard is that in basic, we only get the web versions of the Office apps. So you're only able to use Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and Outlook within a browser. So you still get full access to Power Platform and everything you need for Power Platform. But it's just a watch out. So if you're paying this, maybe you actually want to be able to have the desktop versions of the Office applications as well as some others like access to Clipchamp for doing videos and Loop and things like that. So it might actually be worth it for you personally to have your own business standard subscription. Business Premium is a step up into a lot of governance things around Microsoft 365 with like managed devices through Intune and some more data protection around Purview. Interesting stuff, not something we'll really get into as part of Power Platform in any of these courses. And if you're just on your own, it's going to be overkill. So I would say if it's just for you, you're going to want to choose between either basic or standard, and really based on whether or not you want the desktop versions of the applications. Both of them have a free trial for a month, so you can start this for free before the subscription kicks in. And so I'm going to just go through the business basic process. So I'm going to click on try free for 1 month, and that's going to take us to a new tab. Give it a sec to load. So you're going to be brought to this screen here. Good old capture to say that we're not a robot. Just go through that. And then we're going to fill in some basic information. So how many people is this for? This is just for one. Now, in terms of pricing, you can commit to a yearly subscription or a monthly. So the price we saw before was for annual. You're going to end up paying more to pay monthly. Now, you can choose the 1 year subscription to be paid monthly. So you can see if I do 1 year paying monthly, it's going to be $10.19 a month. If I pay up front, it's going to be $116. So it saves me a bit of money if I do want to pay up front. The watch out is that if I choose 1 year pay monthly, I am committing to pay for a year and I'm locking myself into paying 12 months of this, and you can't back out of it once you've gone through the trial period. So if you want to be a bit more flexible, you might choose to only commit to a month. So I can see that that makes the price $11.64 per month. So it's slightly more, but I can cancel at any time and I'm not locked in for a 12-month period. And again, that lock-in only applies after the trial, as we see down here. So you can cancel within the 7 days of the trial. So I'm going to choose for this example, we're going to pay one person monthly with a monthly commitment. And then it's going to ask for an email address. So here you're going to want to put in your personal email. That. And it's going to come back and say, hey, you need to set up an account. You don't already have a business account. Which is perfect. So we're going to set up our account. We're going to fill in our information. Now for company name, you don't have to be a registered business. You can just put your name in as the company name. One person, I'm going to put in my phone number. Give yourself any job title you want. I'm just going to say I'm the owner. We're going to put in our address. We have a website. We're just going to say no. It's going to start asking you about domain names and things. We don't need to worry about that. Up to you if you want to opt in to any of the options here, but I'm just going to hit next. Then we're going to get a security check. So it's going to verify our phone number. So I'm going to choose text me and send a verification code. And we're going to see that come through, which it has done. And we'll pop in the code. We'll verify. Perfect. So we now get to choose our username and our .onmicrosoft.com domain name. So I always just put my name for my username. And then for domain name, you can put in anything you want here as long as it's not taken. So if you hit save, it's going to verify that. And it's letting me do it. So basically, this is going to create an email account for me, ben@bizappsacademy.onmicrosoft.com. Now, once the tenant's established, you do have the option to add your own domain name if you do want one, or if you do have one. But the onmicrosoft.com domain gives us access to all of the stuff we need for emails without us having to pay for a domain name. Then we're going to choose a password. So then we are going to put in our payment information. Again, this is a free trial to start with, so it's not going to charge you until the start of it. But we'll put in our payment information anyway. So I'll do that and I'll come back to you. Okay, so once that's done, we're going to land on our final screen here where we're just verifying the number, what we're paying per month, our various details here. And then we see that our total to pay today is 0 because this is a trial. And we can see on the right that the paid subscription starts, in my case, on the 8th of June. So as long as I cancel in that first month, I won't be charged anything. And once I'm happy with all of that, I can hit start trial. And it might take a moment or so, but eventually we will end up on this screen here where we have the option to set up multi-factor authentication. Please do this. You do not want to put your account at risk. It's a very simple process to step through, just with the Microsoft Authenticator app on your phone. So we can just work through this very briefly. So if you don't have the app, you've got the option there to download it. I do have the app, so I'm just going to click next and set up my account. And I'm going to scan the QR code with my phone. Next. Now it's going to try it out. So the pop-ups come up on my phone. I'm going to enter the number. Just let Face ID verify me. And that should come through on the screen. Can sometimes take a few seconds, but there it is. So it's approved. So now I have two-factor authentication set up. So even if for some reason my password was compromised, people would still need my personal phone to be able to sign in. So here we go, that's our final screen, we're ready to go. We can hit start using, and this is going to take us into the Microsoft admin portal. This is where we can manage our tenant. So we're going to get a nice big thank you, and it's going to take us through the setup now. So we'll wait for this to come through, and here we can step through. We'll just X out of that. So we're going to continue. At this stage, we don't want to add any users. Bear in mind, if you add users and you give them a license, that will increase the amount that you're going to get charged every month. So it's best just to leave this as is, and we'll hit skip. And we are done. And we don't need the business advisor, so we're just going to skip out of this. And there's all sorts of things in here that you can explore in the admin center with setting everything up. But we're now at the point where we can carry on with setting up our developer environments within Power Platform. So now that we've got our tenant set up, it's time to set up our Power Apps environments. Now to do this, if you head over to the link, and you're going to come to this page here for the Power Apps developer plan. And we're going to hit this button right here for Start Free. And that's going to ask for our email address. So we'll put in the one that we created earlier. free here, and we'll hit start through. We'll just give it a few moments to go through and do what it needs to do. And eventually it's going to take us to, we can see make.powerapps.com, and we're going to have a message saying this is a developer environment. So here we are. This is the Power Apps portal. This is the starting point for a lot of the work that we're going to do in Power Platform. At the top here, we've got this environment option. And what you should see is you should see your name, environment. So in my case, Ben Clist's environment. If we click on this, you may see other environments if you are working in an existing tenant for your business. If this is a new tenant that you've just created for yourself, you're also going to see the default environment here. Now, something that's super important to remember is you shouldn't ever be doing any work in the default environment. Without going into too much detail, there's all sorts of reasons for why this is, but essentially it's not very secure. Everyone within your tenant, within your organization, has access to everything that goes on in there, and it also is just harder to manage. So we will always use environments. Now, in a later video, we'll go into more detail about what environments are, but it's important just to make sure that you're always in the one with your name. And if we hover over it, we can see the environment type is developer. With these developer environments, you will not incur any cost. You do not need to be licensed, yet you'll still have full access to all of the premium features. And that's why we get this warning here saying you can't use it for production. So you can't use it to get around licensing, but for learning, it's absolutely perfect. You'll get access to everything. There's no risk of you incurring cost from anything that you do in here. You can just focus on what you want to learn and what you want to experiment with and what you want to build for yourself.